That changes in 1952, when a former president and military leader named Fulgencio Batista seizes power in a coup, suspends the Constitution, and imposes an increasingly oppressive rule. Cuba's communist uprising begins the next year, led by a young Fidel Castro. American politics at this point is obsessed with fears of communism, so the U.S. backs Batista in the war, no matter how brutal he becomes. But for Americans, this feels like a front in the struggle against communism. But for Cubans, it feels like Batista is an extension of American imperialism, and the guerrilla war a continuation of their long fight for freedom. And the communists win in 1959 and Castro takes power. The U.S., fearing communism's expansion, sets up the embargo to strangle Cuba's economy, tries to assassinate Castro, and even, in the disaster known as Bay of Pigs, sends in CIA-trained Cubans to try to take over the island. Castro turns to the Soviets for help, and in 1962 they nearly start World War III when the U.S. blocks Soviet efforts to put nuclear missiles in Cuba. The incident scares everyone enough that things settle into a tense but basically peaceful status quo. Over time, ordinary Cubans are squeezed between the U.S. embargo and Castro's dictatorship. In 1980, Castro tries to relieve some political dissent by briefly allowing Cubans to leave the island, and 125,000 arrive in Florida. No one realizes it at the time, but this adds a completely new dimension to the conflict. It's now also about the internal Cuban battle between Castro versus Cuban dissidents, which plays out through American politics. And this becomes really important in the 1990s. After the Soviet Union collapses, President Bill Clinton, seeing Cuba poses no threat, wants to end the conflict. And so does Castro, who can't count on Soviet aid anymore. But Cubans in America, who suffered terribly at Castro's hand, want to see him fall and push for keeping the embargo. In the middle of this fight, in 1996, Cuba shoots down 2 private planes chartered by Cuban-American activists. There's a big backlash in the U.S., and Clinton backs down. 20 years later, President Barack Obama tries again to end the conflict. By now, Americans don't really support the embargo. Lots of Cuban Americans are now economic migrants rather than political exiles, so they want openness. Fidel is getting old, and in 2008, hands power to his brother Raul, who knows the country needs to change. The U.S. and Cuba start secret talks in 2013. The new Pope, Francis, helps negotiate. In 2014, they reveal their agreement to end the conflict, and the next year, Obama becomes the first president to visit since Calvin Coolidge in 1928. The U.S. and Cuba have never really had normal relations until now, and that's crucial to understanding why it took so long for this to happen. So much has passed between the two countries over the past century, and the U.S. has at times treated Cuba as more of a colony than it's a real country. It's a lot to get over, but it looks like they might both finally be ready.